What is up, everybody? It is AMSatellite, and today I'm back with another League of Legends video. And in this video I'm going to be trying to explain as good and as balancedly as I can what's been going on in the past few months. I wanted to give you guys sort of a recap about what's been going on in the last few months and why I've decided to come back to YouTube, why I feel ready. Obviously this is not a commentary you guys need to be overly interested in. I can understand it's all personal stuff. So naturally, there'll be some of you who don't care, and those of you who don't care can mute, I suppose. The gameplay in the background is a ranked game from a few patches ago, I think, 1 or 2 patches ago, in which I destroy Shen. I don't really remember anything else because the video was recorded a while ago. I've actually planned to do this recap video and chose this gameplay for it a while ago, but I wanted to write a script to sort of keep things in order, but unfortunately I didn't really get the chance to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump in and try to be as organized as I can while explaining, and I'm going to try to be I'm going to try to say things in a certain order, to go over every topic in a certain order so that I can provide timestamps for you guys in the description. So what I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my notes on my phone to actually write down the timestamps that I'm going to give you guys. So to start with, I think one very good way is going to be to start with a small recap about what happened and why I've disappeared, what made me depressed and all that, so you guys can get a bit of a better insight into the background here. So let's say 1 minute and 40 seconds recap. I'm gonna write this down. There we go. All right, so to quickly recap, my father was diagnosed with a cancer 6 years ago. Actually, no, never mind. It was 8 years ago, and he died 2 years ago. So after 6 years of fighting, we unfortunately lost the war. We ended up, succumbing to it. He actually didn't die to the cancer specifically, but obviously the therapy that he did had a lot of counter effects and side effects and negative things that were somewhat anticipated, but still we couldn't really bear with. He couldn't bear with them. His body couldn't bear with them, so he ended up dying. And yeah, that's a tragedy. And following that, I've decided to put a lot of my focus on on my studies, because those were one of the things that connected to my dad the most. He's the person that has been following me during my career at university more closely, providing me with important suggestions, and he offered guidance. My father was always, he was very close to me, especially from the professional side. I always asked him for inputs on things that are university related, and not having him there when I got my university degree 1 year after his death was really, really painful. This might sound weird, it's like, well, dude, I mean, he died 2 years ago. The fact that you're still talking about it is kind of weird, and I can agree with you on that. And another thing that you guys might think is weird is the fact that I actually fell into depression considerably later, than when he actually died. I fell into depression 1 year later. Well, I mean, psychologically speaking, and this is something that a professional has told me, so I'm not just making this up as I go just to justify the fact that I'm maybe a weak-minded person that suffered too much for the loss of a parent. I'm not trying to justify that, but what I am going to say is, psychologically speaking, I got to a point, to pulling off the degree in engineering I have, that took a lot of effort, and it's something I wanted to share with the person that I connected to the most when it came to professional decisions and all of that, and I couldn't do that. When he was absent from that ceremony, it kind of destroyed me. So that's the big getaway from all this. That's the big thing that kind of really changed the game for me. That really changed me as a person, and it didn't do that at first. It only did that when I realized what that would mean, because after my degree I started thinking about things like, well, what about if I wind up getting married and get children? What am I going to tell them? Well, you don't have a grandfather because he died very early in my life, and you don't get to know who he is. You get to see pictures, you get to see descriptions, but you don't know who he is. I started thinking about all of these things, and they really destroy my mind when it comes to them. It might sound weak and weird, but really it gets to you when you think about it. So that's why it was kind of delayed, and it's an explanation that, again, a professional has given me. I'm not making it up. Either way, that's one of the factors that, ended up going. And then the second thing that happened was, unfortunately, a very, very sad end to a relationship that, to me, had potential. I stand by the fact that relationship had potential. Most people would disagree with me. There were some premises in that relationship that really set the standards low overall. But to be quite honest with you, and I'm really trying to be as impartial, neutral as I possibly can, but I really believe that relationship had potential, and that's why it really destroyed me personally further when, you know, that potential just couldn't come to be. You know, when you know something can be amazing, you try your best to make it amazing, but then you fail, you know. And when a relationship ends, it's always a failure on both sides. That shit really breaks you. It's hard to, and you know, it can break you on its own. I know people that have suffered a lot for relationships finishing, but in my case specifically, my mind was already bugging. You know, it was already a constant screw up mentally due to, you know, losing my father and all that. These things really didn't help, and when the relationship failed, I just wasn't ready for that. I just wasn't ready for somebody else to just, you know, leave my life, good or bad reasons. I just wasn't ready, and you know, my behavior post that wasn't too bad overall. I have to say I am satisfied with how I behaved when it comes to, you know, privacy and respect and all that. I think I could have still done something better overall, but I'm a human being and I have feelings, and sometimes those get in the way of my better judgment. And I apologize if I offended anyone, you know, with you know, talking about certain things on my past videos, and I certainly hope that what I'm saying right now is also fine. But anyway, so these two things are the bigger events. Unfortunately, you know, all of that kind of those two beats that I took ended up really connecting and made it very hard for me to do basic things like, you know, going out and feeling accepted, feeling normal. I felt like a human failure, to be honest. I was like, I couldn't get my degree in time. I couldn't make a difference for my dad, keep him alive, because, you know, these are all disorganized thoughts, and I can't understand that. But the truth is that you always feel responsible when that stuff happens, unfortunately. So yeah, basically that's the getaway overall. And yeah, so what did I do to fix this, and why am I here making videos again? Like, what did I do? Did I pray? Did I go to church? You know, there's different approaches to problems like these, to chronic depressions and all that. And I'm gonna try to tell you guys my experience, mostly because I want to let you guys know what happened. To be honest, this is more of an a selfish video. I'm not really out here to give suggestions to people because I don't feel I'm qualified. Yeah, you know, I can give you guys my experience, but does that qualify for usefulness in any way? Like, is that really gonna help anyone? I don't know. Either way, it's up there. It's gonna be here. So maybe if you guys experience something like this, you can take some cues. And if you don't, you'll at least be listening to the updates that I promised you a very long time ago I would give. So here's what it is. I'm gonna write down the timestamp for this, 8 minutes, how I got better. Okay, so first off, and I have to be honest here, like, this is basically the #1 thing that made a difference in my case, and that's my friends. I am lucky enough to have, well, I mean, I don't have a huge amount of friends IRL, but I have a fair amount of friends IRL. And my best friend, who you guys might know as Hispanico 5, he's actually been in quite a few of my videos in the past. Now, we don't really play too much anymore together because we're not in the same tier yet, so we don't get to duo. Otherwise, I would definitely duo with him. But he's getting there, so soon maybe you guys will see him again. Either way, he's been there. He's been there every day, every time. Like, anytime I needed to talk, he was always available. He and the other guys in my group and that I go out with, they forced me to go out even when I didn't feel like. I was like, yeah, guys, I really don't feel like coming tonight. You know, you can go without me. I appreciate the thought and all that. And they would force me to go out, and they would force me to smile. This might sound like it's, you know, brute, but it kind of really worked, at least from a in the moment standpoint. Like, they really helped me forget about the things that were bugging me out. And then, you know, over time that helped. Obviously, as soon as I stopped going out with them, you know, going out with them, you go out and then you go home. And at the time I went home, obviously the good feelings went away. And that's one of the things that made it very hard. Like, that status of which, it's like your basic status psychologically is that of sadness. Like, when you're alone and you're, you know, not doing anything, and you're not, you know, doing something that forces you to pay attention, you're sad. When you're in that state, well, everything is a distraction, and it feels void, and then eventually you basically stop, caring about things, because you're like, oh well, what does it matter if I do something nice if I'm still going to get back to this negativity anyway? That kind of stuff is really what makes depression, and it's really what makes it hard to just back out of it. And obviously I had to overcome that, and consistency really helped. This might sound like I'm being optimistic in my point of view, but really at the time I wasn't being optimistic at all. I felt like crap. I actually felt like crap. I felt like nothing works, and I felt guilty as well. I was like, look at all these people, my family, my friends, they're trying their best to do something, and yet nothing changes. I'm still coming back home and I feel like crap anyway. So, it's really a vicious circle. Your mind plays with you, it screws you over, and it ruins it. And it's really just clinical depression. It's how it works. But really, if you consistently force yourself to do things that you used to like, or you can appreciate, but you don't feel like it at the time, sometimes it's better. And if you consistently do that, eventually you're going to just get out of it. You're just going to be better. You're just going to feel better over time, and that's really all you can. And that's really all you can ask for. It's really just and friends are important in this process, because on your own it's hard. You can't really force yourself. Like you can't go to the mirror and be like, yeah, dude, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, because you ain't gonna do any of what you say if you do it that way. It's gotta come from somebody else as well. Now, obviously, when you're not clinically depressed, when you're just going through a bad time, well, you can just go through, wait, and things will get better on their own, or you can, do that mirror thing and just basically talk yourself out of the sadness in that case. You can't do that when you're actually depressed, when things have when things have just gone too down, and you don't have any mind strength left. That's when you need somebody else's help. And friends can really make a difference if you have some. For those of you who don't have friends, if there's any, I highly doubt, I don't think there's too many people on earth that really don't have a single person that they can count on outside of families, and sometimes the family is just about enough. When I say friends, I should really say friends and family. Either one of those things will make a difference. Friends can make a bigger difference, because friends you pick, basically. You pick people that are similar to you in their thoughts. You pick people that are, similar to you in their tastes, so you will wind up meeting people that do what you like to do as well. So it's more seamless to interact with people that you choose to put in your life, rather than people that were given to you at birth. Now, I have a very good relationship with my family members. We kind of got united after my father died. My family kind of tried to compensate the loss with closing in to each other, being closer. So there's that, and that really helped. But what really made a difference for me, again, was my friends, because they forced me to go out. They forced me to do things that would keep my mind off the negativity, and that made a huge difference. So, friends are the number one thing. And I'm actually going to go ahead and write on the 8 minutes timestamp how I got better 1 friends. There we go. And then we are at 13 minutes and 20 seconds here, and or sort of that. And number two is going to be the number 2 topic we're going to discuss here is going to be, well, my going to a psychologist. Now, consulting a professional sometimes is considered, oh well, the guy goes to a psychologist / neurologist / psychiatrist. All these people. When you go to one of them, when you consult one of those, they are going to be, most people around you will tell you, oh, you're insane, that's why you have to go there. The only reason you go there is because you're a fucking insane person, you're a mad person, you're crazy, and that kind of stuff. They look at you that way, at least in Italy. I'm not sure if that's the case for every country, but I'm certain that in Italy, most people will look at you down from, down. They'll look down on you for going to a professional that's there to help your mind. So, and, in this situation, when you really don't feel like you can have peace of mind when you're on your own, in those moments when you're on your own, it's just you in the mirror and you feel bad, you don't feel good, you feel, terrible. When you're feeling like that for days and days and weeks and months and all that, that's when you have to accept someone's help. You need to stop forcing yourself to do things on your own. You need to stop forcing, a responsibility on people that apparently can't make the difference on their own, and you have to be humble enough to just go and seek help, because that's what people being strong isn't just dealing with things. Being strong being strong is not just dealing with things on your own, being like, I can get back up, but also have the ability to surround you with people that can help you getting back up in a situation like that. And by that I also obviously mean surrounding yourself with professional help if it's necessary. Obviously, the ability to decide whether it's necessary or not, it's kind of complicated. You can it's not exactly trivial to decide whether or not professional help is necessary in a specific case. But I can tell you, in quite a few situations when it's been weeks since the last time you actually felt any interest in what you're doing in your life whatsoever, outside of the moments in which you're actually distracted, when you get into that situation, then you need help. That's the point where you need help, and you need to be humble enough to seek it. And personally, I feel like the professional I've been going to has helped me a lot. I've been, there's been a lot of discussion about my past, my present, my future. That's also a very big topic of discussion when you're going to professional for help. And we've discussed many things, and a lot of things about myself and how I process pain came out, because obviously that was my very first loss. I actually have 4 grandparents all alive. This is like the first person to ever die on my family that I had a connection with that's immediate. So not a long distance cousin and all that stuff. The first person that's actually close and within my daily life that disappeared was my father. And that's that's kind of crazy. It's wild if you think about it, because it's not like losing someone that's far off. It's like the person that's the closest to you, especially as a young man that's starting to approach adulthood. That loss really hit me hard. So losing that was a tough thing, and this situation really taught me how I process pain and how my mind works, and how as a person I can be stronger and I can deal with things better in the future. So yeah, this is really an important part of my therapy, most definitely. I'm still seeing the professional I'm referring to. The doctor's still there, because I'm feeling better, good enough to the point of which I want to make videos again, good enough to the point of which I've been doing exams again, good enough to do other things that I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. But I'm not perfect yet. My objective is still set up there, and I'm not done trying to achieve it. But I guess I'll discuss this later, so I can get a timestamp specifically for the future. Anyway, so I'd say we can close this topic here, number 2, professional help. And now we got to 17 minutes and 40 seconds in which I'm gonna discuss the gym. And this might seem kind of oh well, this guy's just insane at this point. Now, I'm actually being honest with you. I started going to the gym shortly after my announcement video, because as you know, the depression kind of took my appetite as well, and so I wound up not eating at all, basically. And I lost weight. I was very weak physically, very weak physically. Like, I actually paid the price for my sadness. My body actually paid it. So how did I fix that? Well, going to the gym really changes your world, because it gives you room to blow off some steam. It's really big when it comes to just getting your mind off to something better than all the negativity, because you gotta the gym is a focused kind of sport. I guess I can really call it sport because there's no competition. It's just me and the weights. But the gym really helps because it forces you to be focused. You have to do a concentrated effort in a specific amount of time, in a specific amount of with a specific group of muscles. You gotta focus on that shit. It's a few seconds. It's 40 seconds, 60 seconds, depending on how many series of an exercise you have to do. But it's a small time. It's a time window into which you have to be 100% perfectly focused, and you need to do it well, because otherwise you can screw up the exercise and not get good results, or you can actually fuck up your muscles as well. You can actually get hurt. So it's important you put effort into that, and it really helps to get your mind off the negative things. And gym does work because it makes you hungrier. You go home when you're done exercising, when you're done training, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna eat a house right now, because that was that was such a huge effort. You know, going to the gym for 1 or 2 hours really takes a toll on your body, and then your body needs those calories back, and you wind up eating a lot more because you're super hungry. So it's really just therapy for the mind and the body, and it's really, really, really super good. It's super good. I can't stress this enough. The gym helps so much. It makes a huge difference in my life, and I can't imagine myself stopping anymore, ever, honestly. Because, again, there's important things like university, like, you know, going out with friends. There's all, but you have to find room to let your body just recover from a mental standpoint via using efforts physically. This is, you can do a sport. I'm not saying the gym is the perfect activity. I'm saying that the gym works for me because for a moment I don't have to interact with anybody. I don't have to explain anything. I'm just there, me, the weights, and I'm just dealing with them, and they don't talk, and it's just me against an enemy that I know how to fight and that I usually win against. That's the bigger part of the gym, is that you usually win because the competition is really against yourself, and it puts you in a position where you have to make an effort to get improvements and all that. So it's really really good. I can't stress this enough. It really works for me specifically. So there's that. So going to the gym really made a huge difference, and it's what helped me gain my body back, I suppose you could say. And now I'm actually aiming higher than that, because why not? Because why not? Let's be honest, why not? All right, so on to the next topic. Let me write a timestamp here: 21 minutes and 20 seconds. So yeah, the next topic is going to be, let me just think about what I'm gonna talk about here, because I'm not entirely sure. I've talked about my friends, talked about my family, I talked about the gym. Oh yeah, right, university. Okay, so what happened this year was I was too weak. My university is quite far from my home, and you know, I have to use public transport to get there. I live in Italy, so public transport here is garbage. There isn't a single city in this country where public transport works. So, yep, that's pretty sad, and that means that going anywhere that is not close takes a longer time than it should. Technically, if public transport worked here the same way it worked in Moscow, for example, when I was in Moscow a few years ago for a school trip, I think it was, I tried the metro there, and it passes fast enough that I would get from my home to my university within 30 minutes, probably less. So in Italy, I actually have to move up 1 hour earlier, and I have to carry all my books, my netbook and all that to study. I have a netbook. It's a 10-inch netbook. It's a small. I don't know if you guys know what a netbook is. It's a small laptop. It's actually like ridiculously small, but it works for programming. So for engineering, it's just about enough. MATLAB doesn't really run too well, but it does run. MATLAB does run. It runs poorly, but it does run, so you can use that. And then I use my PC at home when I actually have to do the cool stuff. But yeah, that was a little bit of an OT there, because it's kind of funny. An engineer that walks around with a garbage netbook doesn't really do anything with it except for small tasks that are sufficient though for his professional life. Well, whatever. Anyway, so going to university with all that weight, this might sound like it's really me whining. It's like, this guy, dude, really 1 hour of public transport? Is it really that hard? I'm certain there's people that do more. Yeah, of course. But I was at the time doing the lessons, at university. At the time, I was really in a terrible, terrible physical spot. So basically, I just couldn't get there. And I just couldn't get to university without feeling either tired or just dead. It was really, really tough. And so I couldn't follow the lessons. I couldn't be at the lessons. I couldn't participate at the lessons. And that kind of just really made it impossible for me to do exams early in the session. What we do in university, me and my friends there, we try to do exams as early as possible to get the degree early on. Now, as you know, I have a bachelor's degree and I'm going for master's right now. So the exams for master's are quite hard. They're a little bit harder than bachelor's exams. Not too much, but they are a little bit harder. So doing them in advance takes a lot of effort, and not following lessons, not having the support of, notes you've taken during the lesson and, the professor and all of that, not having all that really, really makes a huge difference. It makes it harder. So at first, doing exams early was just impossible for me. It was a pain, and I failed them. I failed 3 exams in a row and wound up passing only 1 with a pretty good grade, but it was 1 exam in 3 months worth of exam session. So at that time, I felt like I was really useless. I was like, I'm actually a human failure, because I lost my father and I felt partially responsible for that. and then my relationship failed, and I felt responsible for it, at least in part. And I was like, I'm just failing at everything. That bachelor's degree was just luck. I felt like that. I literally felt just like that. And after seeing my friends, seeing the professional, doing the gym, I started trying to do exams again. 2 months had passed. We were getting to the beginning of May, and I was like, okay, I feel like it's time for me to try touching the books again, because I actually took a fairly big break at the time. And I was like, it's time for me to try touching the books again. So what I did was I started trying to study again and asked my friends from university to provide me with some notes that I could use to at least begin, to start getting information. And I was like, I'm not sure I'm gonna try this exam. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try reading some of the things from the books, from the notes, and if I understand something, I'm gonna try the exam. And I did it the first time, and I passed the exam. I did it the second time, and I passed the exam. After the third exam, I realized my mind was sort of back. All the work I had done in the previous few months was really important and helped me to focus again, to the point where the lacking lessons wasn't sufficient for me to fail. So I was like, okay, I'm hungry now, and I'm gonna try to do as many exams as I can to recover the situation, to sort of get back to, on par with the exams, like all my friends were, even though I had only done one during the first session. There's 2 sessions in university in Italy. First one is during the winter, second one is during the summer. So we are, summer one is split between June and July, and then September. So right now, I actually recovered all the exams I needed to recover. I am actually in a better spot than quite a few of my colleagues at university, which is crazy considering how far behind I had started. All these things really showed me that the brain is there. I'm still there. The strong Alfred is still in here. I just need to look for him and make him surface. So, this got me to the point where I wanted to do other things as well. So I tried to go ranked in League of Legends again, try harding in League of Legends again, and I climbed all the way to Diamond 2 pretty strongly. And I'm enjoying the game again, although I'm mostly playing Darius. This is kind of a small thing that I'm gonna tell you guys in a minute here. But yeah, it's basically, I was like, I want to try new things, and I'm gonna get a new timestamp. So new timestamp, 27 minutes, League of Legends. Okay, so that me just getting back to a certain degree of satisfaction and positivity gave me the strength and the desire to also try doing the other things that I used to like before. So, League of Legends is one of them. Playing the piano is one of them. I started playing the piano again very often to sort of, express myself and my feelings via music, which is a very important thing for a person like me. I really like music. It's important to me to play, and I don't know why I had stopped, because I didn't feel like it. I suppose I was just depressed. And I'm clinically, I think I'm still depressed. I think my condition still counts as depression overall, because unfortunately, I do have some moments of darkness that just come, and it feels odd when they come, but most of the time I am strong enough to just tell myself, yeah, okay, right now you're feeling like this, shut the fuck up and get back to it. So as far as League goes, I want to publish content again, and I will be publishing content with a certain consistency. I'm going to take a 2 weeks break now because I'm going on vacation. So in 2 weeks, I'll be back, and I'm going to start uploading regularly again. The one important thing you guys need to keep in mind is that I am most likely going to be a Darius main. Unfortunately, Garen doesn't just cut it for me anymore. I don't enjoy playing Garen as much as I used to before. He's definitely still one of my top picks. But you guys are going to see a lot more Darius in my content, and I hope that this is fine by you. I'm going to play both champions. I'm going to do a rebranding when I come back, try to get branded for both the champions. And, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Guys, I'm really back. I'm really back. So, I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you for watching.